Everyone, Amanda here with Moses and Me Card Company. Today I am going to be making sympathy cards with you guys. Unfortunately, I have a need for some sympathy cards, and I don't know about y'all, but these are my least favorite cards to create, so I don't typically have some on hand, which is my mistake. I should really make some extras. So today I thought I would do that, and just thought I would take you through the process. I'm just going to take out a couple of items that I have in my stash to make some sympathy cards. Starting with some embossing folders that I have. This is a new to me embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp called Adrift Air Balloons. So I'll use that one. I will also use this embossing folder called Soaring Swallows. I don't know why, I always think of birds when I think of sympathy cards. And then I will use the Spellbinders Glimmering Peonies. I also have the, somewhere on my desk, I've got the stencil for the Glimmering Peonies. So you can kind of color them in. I will also use the Glimmering Buttercups and their stencil, so I can color those in. And then I will use the Stylish Oval Birds. As you can tell, birds are big for me in sympathy. And I also wanted to bring in a couple of these letter dies that I have from Spellbinders. This is the Every Occasion, and I'm using the floral T and the floral W. The T is a thank you card. It creates a little thank you. Obviously you don't have to use it with the thank you part, but I decided I needed a thank you card. And the W is the With Sympathy letters. And just to show you briefly, before I start making the cards, these are the panels I've created. So this is the hot air balloons. These are the swallows. And then I've got a couple of the peonies and the, are they daffodils? I don't remember. And I've got my words. I think these really turned out pretty. I think those are super pretty. How those I glimmered those instead of better pressed them. And then of course we have the bird as well, so the Stylish Oval Birds. So I will work on creating these into cards. I might show you guys little bits of that creation process, but stay tuned. All right, everybody. So here are the 7 thank you cards that we were able to create. These were initially going to be sympathy cards, but I needed some thank you notes. So I ended up re-diverting my attentions to sympathy card, or to thank you notes. I will follow up with another video that has the sympathy cards that I created. So starting off, I used a embossing folder that I have in my stash. This is from Simon Says Stamp. This is their Soaring Swallows. I saw somebody on YouTube actually color the swallows on the embossing folder, and it was really pretty. And I don't know if I just need to practice more, but when I did that, obviously I chose bolder colors, which might have been my downfall, but it looked terrible. So to salvage it, or at least attempt to salvage it, I took some vellum and put that over top. This is some thick vellum that I also embossed so that it is kind of muting the colors that I created with my coloring. And then I took a couple of stamps. So the stamp is from My Favorite Things. This is the Itty Bitty Thanks. This is the secondary sentiment that you see here. That is embossed with gold embossing powder. And then the Thanks die is from Simon Says Stamp as well. This is one that I've had in my stash for a little bit. This is called the Thanks Frame. And so it creates a nice little frame and a thank you. And that, of course, was used because I needed to cover up some heat foiling I had done in the background here. I had a with Sympathy foil back there. And then I brought in some gems from Spellbinders. These are the green gems, which went really nicely with the color of green that I chose. This is a frame die that I have in my stash that just does a scalloped frame. This, of course, is all mounted on some fun foam, so it's got dimension. That's the main panel. And then the secondary sentiment has some foam tape. So it also has dimension. And then as you can see, it's kind of like I was trying to color swallows, but I don't know. I will continue to practice that and see if I can make that any better. But there you have card number 1. Get my drink out of the way here. Alrighty, so for card number 2, let me get these kind of in order. I brought in, this is from Spellbinders. This is their, I used 2 of these. At the intro video, you can see a lot of these I heat embossed with a couple of foils. This is the, I want to say it's like a champagne gold color. So I don't know what the name of that is, but that is like a champagne gold color. Maybe it's their matte gold. But in any case, sorry I didn't have all my stuff together, I guess. I used this stylish oval floral bird hot foil plate. And then it came with a coordinating stencil so that I could color it in. You kind of see it's got a layering stencil. Try to keep it pretty simple, not pick out too many colors. I, as you all know, struggle a little bit with colors. So just kept it in like the blues and the peach families. This is, of course, Simon Says Stamp, Positively Saturated Inks. I want to say it is the sky blue, maybe? The sky blue and the dusk blue. And then I brought in a little cantaloupe for the breast of the bird and the beak. And then the cantaloupe is on the flowers as well. And then the lighter orange is the melon color. And then for the green, that is the cabbage color. So I think that kind of turned out really pretty. I also brought in, this has a it's kind of like all the ovals kind of coordinate together. So for the hot foil Thanks, this is from the Stylish Oval Thanks. And I just pulled out that little piece from that and then die cut that as well. And the other piece is, of course, the background ovals, which are the Infinity Punch and Pierce plate. So that kind of cuts out several layers that have like really pretty details on them. So for this one, I just used the outer detail. That, of course, is, I put that, I started out with some like a sherbet color or peach color cardstock, and I didn't like how that looked, so I came in with some, I think this is from Spellbinders, maybe their Glacier Blue, just to kind of tone it down a little bit. So that's got a couple of layers that are mounted, and then of course there's this background that is done in the Nina Desert Storm, and the sentiment is also foiled on that in the same gold that I foiled the background in. So there you have card number 2. And of course I brought in some gems for that one also. I used the, let's see if I can find them. This is the Peach Blush Color Essential Gems from Spellbinders. I thought those kind of look nice. So again, I did another a round of this, and this is the colors on the actual template are the same. You can see I made them a little darker. I did a little bit more of a distinction between the feathers. Same dyes used to create the frame for this guy. I also brought in some champagne gold from my card, from my stash rather. And then this thank you is from Simon Says Stamp again, and this is a fairly new die. I really like thank you dies. I always need them. Apparently I need some more sympathy dies because I don't seem to have a lot of those either, but this is the thank you in the Novelli script, so that one's really pretty. I mounted that on several layers of cardstock, and then on the back you'll see it's also got that champagne gold, and it's just offset a little bit, so it's also got like a little bit of shimmer on the back of it just to kind of give it just a little bit of interest and offset it a little bit. I don't think that it makes it more readable, but it just kind of gives it a pretty little shine. So there you have card number 3. For card number 4, I brought in, these are from Spellbinders. This is their letter better press, and I see if I can find the tea that I use. These actually turned out really pretty. I do have the whole set of alphabet, and this is the first time I've ever used them, but I think, gosh, they're awfully pretty, aren't they? And I used so this is the Every Occasion Floral Tea and Sentiment. So you see that it's got the floral tea, and then it finishes out the thank you sentiment. I did not better press this. Obviously, I used my glimmer machine to foil it, and it just kind of made a really pretty card, I thought. And I used my Copic markers to color in the flowers and the greenery, and then I brought in some patterned paper from my stash. This is from Queen & Company. I don't remember which paper pad, but it is a paper pad from Queen & Company. And I also brought in some gems. These are the gold mix gems from Spellbinders. And I also brought in some Love from Lizzie peel-offs in. This is the white pinstripe with the gold outline. You can't really see the white, but it's just kind of a pretty little detail in there. So there you have card number 4. And then again, this is mounted on some fun foam, so it's got a little bit of dimension. And I should also mention that I cut out the tea using, let's see if I can find those quickly, using some dies. They're from Pink Fresh Studios. These are notched corner frames. So I used those dies to cut out that T, and I think that turned out really pretty. Kind of gave it some nice detail. All right, and now for the final 3. Starting with this one. This is, again, from Spellbinders. This is the, let's see if I can figure out which one's which. Okay, this is the Glimmering Buttercups. So this is a hot foil plate. The Glimmering Buttercups has a coordinating stencil that you can color them in. And so I used that to give me kind of a tone on tone. This again is the Positively Saturated inks from Simon Says Stamp in Melon, Cantaloupe, and Sherbet. And just kind of blended those. Again, these are the notched corner frames from Pink Fresh Studios. And I also brought in the thank you in the Novelli script from Simon Says Stamp for the thank you. This, of course, is mounted on some fun foam. And then, of course, my die is got a couple of layers stacked, so it's got a little bit of dimension. And I brought in some more of the gems from Spellbinders. This is, again, is the Gold Mix gem. Kind of that more transparent gold that's in that mix. And there you have card number 5. For card number 7, I brought in, this is the other set, the Glimmering Peonies. And of course I've got the stencil that you can color those in as well. And again, I just did kind of a monochromatic coloring of those. This is using the Morning, Twilight, and Galaxy colors from Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated Inks. Then I brought in a couple of frames, arches from Spellbinders. So this is 2 sets. I brought in this set, which is the Make-A-Wish arch labels, which gives you this pretty detail on the edge. And then I also brought in just the essential arches, which kind of just create the arch for me. That, of course, has got some pattern paper in the background. That is from a Queen & Company paper pad. I've got some champagne gold from Simon Says Stamp that goes really nicely with the foil that I used to glimmer this. Again, I don't know if that's champagne gold or matte gold, but I'll have to find out. And then I used this sentiment here, which I also glimmered with the same gold that I used in the background. This is from the You Are Everything sentiments, which is a Better Press sentiment set, and it creates like a whole bunch of sentiments that you can use, and they're really pretty. They have really pretty font, and then you just glimmer them once, and of course you have a whole bunch of sentiments that you now can use. That is, of course, stacked up several high, and then of course I use some fun foam to give all of this some dimension. And then of course I brought in some more of the Gold Mix gems from Spellbinders, which are really pretty with this gold foil. And there you have card number 6. And then last but not least, card number 7 again is the peonies, the glimmering peonies with the stencil. These are done in a different foil. It's kind of more of a pinky, like a rose gold foil, and I think that's probably what it's called. But for this one, I actually used the Sky, the Dusk, and the Night inks from Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated Inks. I also used that same glimmering, or Better Press plate, rather, the You Are Everything sentiments. I glimmered those with the same kind of rose gold foil that I used on the peonies. And then again, these are, the sentiment is stacked several high on cardstock, so it's got some dimension. The frame that I used for this, I used a different frame. This is from Spellbinders, and I wasn't paying attention when I cut it. I thought it would behave the same way that the Pink Fresh Studio frame behaves, so I cut out the outline, and then I went to emboss it with the line detail, and that actually cuts it as well. So I ended up with these 2 pieces. So for the frame on that, I popped that up on some fun foam so that it's got some dimension. And then for the background, I used some Nina Desert Storm cardstock, and I actually embossed that using this embossing folder from Spellbinders that is called Origami Folds, which is kind of just a very muted background embossing folder. And then lastly, for the gems here, I went in again with the Peach Blush. I thought that went really nicely with the kind of rose gold foil that I used. And there you have card number 7. So there are my 7 thank you cards. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope you like these kinds of videos. Sometimes I struggle using my card kits, and I just kind of want to use the products in my room that are themed. You know, like I run out of birthday cards. I want to make a bunch of birthday cards, so I'll kind of go through my stash and find a bunch of birthday things. And same thing with thank you notes. I'm never ahead of the curve. I'm always trying to make them as people need them. So this is kind of what spurred this on. But in any case, I hope that you like these types of videos. I hope this gives you some ideas on what to do if you have any of these products or are just looking for some inspiration on creating thank you cards, or these could be any kinds of cards. You could put sympathy cards together with these same themes, or birthday cards, etc. But I just wanted to post and let you know what I created. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to the next video, and I appreciate all of your help and support and all the views. So look forward to chatting with you all real soon. Thanks so much, and talk at you later.